The engine is self-start.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Oop, my connection got lost, but now I'm back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. We are streaming live on the Rift Nation Network. My connection went boom, and then it came right back on. It was like a little mini explosion. Maybe it's because it's going to be a good show. I don't know. It's weird. It's Apocalypse Aries season. Welcome to the Rift Nation Network. I am your host, Joni Skinner. We are live tonight on Facebook, YouTube, and if you can't join us live, please pass the word. We are also on Spotify, Apple, and where you listen to your podcasts. So I hope everybody's doing well tonight. I am a forensic astrologer, and every Wednesday night we go over true crime cases, mysteries, anything happening in the news cycle. We like to look at those charts as well. That's called mundane astrology. But tonight, basically we concentrate on true crime, cold cases, and I do what is called an event chart. Forensic astrology is a little bit like mundane astrology or event astrology. So sit back, enjoy, and please join us in the chat. If you are new with us, welcome. thank you for joining us. We have a great time on Wednesday evening with all of our cases, keeping up with everything true crime, mysteries. Oh, guess what, y'all? Another scientist has been added to the list. Yes, another person went missing in 2025. Guess what? Left the keys, left the wallet, left the phone, the same way that the general went missing, and our was it Melissa? Melissa, the gal in New Mexico went missing. They just leave their keys. And then another guy in New Mexico went missing the same way. They leave their keys, their wallet, their phones. They go out, take a walk, boom, gone without a trace. So we now have another person missing. So now it's up to 10. And somebody, I read, I think it was in the New York Post where I read that now Congress is starting to like perk up and say, wait a minute, these people had our nuclear secrets. So it's starting to get a little bit of congressional attention. I don't know if that's a good sign or I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign with our Congress or our politicians. Maybe they should leave it alone. They can't even keep our government open. Those poor people aren't getting paid. Pay our people. I hope y'all are doing well. Let's check out the chat. Welcome, everybody. Please like and share. I know you always do. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Miss Lee. How are you? Hello, Miss Tammy. Prayers for Kathy recovering from surgery today. Hello. Oh, yes. Everybody, we will say prayers for Miss Kathy for a speedy recovery. You know what? Lots of very good Aries warrior energy for surgery. She will heal extremely fast from surgery. Speedy. It's a good time to have surgery. Really good time. We're in, like, I keep calling it, I keep laughing. It's the Aries apocalypse. It's the freaking Aries apocalypse. I think by, I can't even keep track, by tomorrow maybe, or the next day, we will have seven planets all in Aries. Doesn't happen. 2026, it's WTF. That's the theme for the astrology of 2026. It's WTF year because we don't know. Hello, Miss Cindy. How are you? Don't forget to join Cindy on 9 p.m. Cindy, she does the healing bowls, energy, Reiki, everything energy. So join Cindy on the Rift Nation Network. Yes, another one. Oh my gosh. Oh, Miss Kathy. Well, prayers. Everybody send prayers and good vibes to Miss Kathy for speedy recovery. Send her some green lights. Send her some green beams. Green is for healing. She's groggy and a little pained. Honey, that's why they give you pain medicine. You know, a long time ago, I won't get into it. I won't go off into some tangent or nothing, but my sister's a nurse, and a long, long time ago, I had surgery, and she said the worst thing that you can do following surgery is not take the medicine as they prescribe it to you for pain, because when pain gets out of control, it's horrible to get pain under control. And, you know, some things people say to you that you just it sticks with you your entire life. And so even with Matt, with his surgery this year, with his finger accident, I was like, you have got to take the pain medicine that's prescribed. I don't care if you're not in pain, because that pain can shoot out control anytime. And we kept the pain under control. It's just certain little things, groggy and a little pained. Well, honey, take care of yourself and speedy recovery. Oh, here's Tammy. Okay, here we go. You know what? Keith has a tinfoil hat. And on Monday nights when we're talking astrology, he puts that hat on and I start laughing because I used to make fun of Keith. I'd say, that's not true. That really didn't happen. That's your conspiracy tinfoil hat. Everything he said back then has come true. So I'm the one that needs to wear the tinfoil hat because I'm the one that said, that's not true. And it was all true. I'm thinking they're meeting up on an alien ship. Nothing would surprise me in 2026, my dear. Hello, Miss Linda. How are you? That's my new song. One day at a time. Well, it's Aries. This is Aries apocalypse. It'll calm down. I've really looked. I really did look. Things calm down in August. Things will get after eclipse season in August. September, October, November, December are fairly calm. So we have till August. We're almost there, sort of, kind of. July is off the cuff, by the way. July is about 10 times work. It's 10 times stronger than April. How are you, Linda? Miss Tammy? That's my new song. Hello, Keith. Today was a bit of a WTF day. Oh, it's, you know what, y'all? It's just, you just gotta just watch it and go, yep, that's Aries. Yep, that's Aries. Nothing impulsive. Watch being impulsive. That's the only thing you got to be careful of. Watch people driving fast, using power tools. Just be mindful of that. It's a lot of fire energy. Lots of fire energy. And, you know, Uranus is at that 29 degrees. Earthquakes and volcanoes. We've got till the 24th and then it shifts. So hopefully Uranus will be good. Hopefully Uranus will keep its little mouth shut and be good, be a good boy and not show us earthquakes. Although Carrie Lynn sent me a text today and Canada Ottawa had an earthquake. I didn't think Canada has earthquakes. I don't know. Canada, I don't know, but Carrie said they had an earthquake in Canada. Am I riding the roller coaster? Yes. The Aries roller coaster. Oh, Capricorn, you're getting squared by all this energy. So yes, you are riding it. Yes. Linda doesn't know how to share from YouTube on iPhone. You hit the share button. It just says share. You just hit the share, and then it should do a drop down, Linda, and then it gives you a platform where you want to share to. Thank you for sharing. But that's the only true crime update I have. I think was that another person went missing, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" That's like 10. But if you all remember last week, we discounted 2 of that original 8 because the one I felt was they could have been accidents, but I don't think they were involved in this situation. But how do I know? I just know astrology. I just know astrology. I don't know what the hell's going on. Hello, Lois. I'm just riding the waves of this. I want to show you guys too. Oh, so I don't know if y'all, we follow true crime. We've all, of course, followed Miss Guthrie's case. But this case from the Bahamas is really getting lots of attention right now on Miss Lynette Hooker and her husband, Brian Hooker, who were down in the Bahamas. And so we're going to take a look at that tonight. Now, we've been getting kind of spotty news out of the Bahamas because the Bahamas are the lead investigation. I didn't know this. However, I didn't know this, but if there's an accident like that, the Coast Guard takes over the investigation as well. So the Coast Guard goes in and invests in international waters, I guess. The Coast Guard, I don't know. Coast Guard is assisting, but the Bahamas, they've taken this very, very seriously, and they appear to be doing a really good job of this. But our favorite girl, one of my favorites, Ashley Banfield from Drop Dead Serious, she does a lot of work with Brian Enton, and I love Ashley Banfield. She's been in true crime for decades, as long as I can remember. She flew down there. So we only got one update from her. But, and I've been waiting for this, she was going to talk to the people at where the couple was the night before Lynette disappeared. So let's get into this story. Oh, also, I don't know, our friends from Canada, Denise, and I know Carrie Lynn and Miss Cindy, and, our friends from Canada don't hear a lot of our news. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Well, we had another, go figure, another politician's in trouble with bad behavior. But we don't know that, because it seems like whenever somebody gets accused of something, it literally, and this is really, this is Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and you have to be very mindful of this behavior, and you can watch the collective doing it. It is a very Salem witch trial mob mentality. And it's like, wait a minute, if a woman accuses somebody, I get it. I get it. I'm all, y'all know I'm for every victim, but we need to wait for all the facts, and we need to let investigations play out. We need to let the authorities do their work. We need to let the court systems play out. And no matter what we think, just because somebody is accused of something doesn't automatically mean they did it. I mean, we don't know, but we do know astrology. So we can look at the astrology and say, here it is. So there we have, for our girls in Canada, we had a congressman who was running for governor. And this timing is a little sus to me. This is where my red light went up. This congressman is running for, he's a young guy running for governor of California. Well, we've got women coming out, alleged staffers, women. I mean, out of nowhere, this guy is married with small children. He's a congressman from California. Out of the, I mean, it's like, boom, it all hit. And it's like one after the other, like 50 staffers signed. They have 50 staffers? Are you kidding me? Why does somebody need 50 staffers? Sign the papers and, we're not working for you, but it's that Aries, Saturn, Neptune and Saturn and Aries, kind of like, I call it the Salem witch hunt mob mentality. Stop. Let investigation. If somebody says I'm innocent of these charges, they are innocent until proven guilty. I don't care if we think the guy's a creeper or not. You're innocent until proven guilty. So I thought we're going to pull up his astrology chart. Take a look. Wait until you see this chart. My mouth hit the floor. It's very interesting. But what I've been saying the whole time about what's happening with this energy this year, and man, so we got that chart to look at. It's kind of a crazy chart, but this isn't the first. This is going to happen all year. This is why we're told to really pay attention. It's like Keith always says, practice the pause, and you step back and you kind of be an adult. Watch the mob mentality. So I'm all for victims, though. Don't get you. Y'all know that. But I want to see the proof. But here we go. Let's take a look at Lynette Hooker. This is a sad story. Ashley Banfield, follow her on YouTube, did an interview with Lynette's mother. Just a lovely lady, you guys. And she was in Florida. And what I gleaned from that interview is that this was a tumultuous marriage. They'd been married 20 plus years. From what mom said, they were retired. They had sold their home and bought a boat and traveled around. And apparently there was a lot of consumptions of alcohol. Now, that came from mom. And it was a back and forth type of a relationship, right? She had been arrested in 2015 for him having some injuries to his face. He had gotten arrested for some DV with a child. So it's just a tumultuous relationship. It's one of those. And I think her mother said, they loved each other, but they weren't good for each other. So we don't know what happened. So we're gonna let's take a look at everything. Oh, here we go. Cindy's on it too. And the daughter told Ashley she hopes it was an accident. This is how I look at it too. We'll look at it, and I do too. I do too, Cindy, because we don't know. And the daughter, I think it's her stepdaddy, and it's just a really sad situation. I don't know if Debbie's in the chat tonight or not, because Debbie does a lot of search and rescue in the ocean. And I know when Michael has a case where the ocean is involved, they search and rescue, and I don't mean to sound horrible, but search and rescue's they're happy if they find a tooth, because the ocean, people just don't make it in the ocean as far as a recovery. Not so much as if they can be recovered if they're, search and rescue, if they're still living, but once past, there's just usually nothing. So, but here's the story. This is let's take a look at everything. So look how beautiful Lynette is. And the thing that mom reinforced was the fact that Lynette was Lynette was an excellent swimmer. They were both water people, excellent swimmers. She was in good shape. They were both scuba divers. So they were careful, and they lived on a boat. So what had happened is, and here she is, God love her heart, and there he is. And and another thing, they documented their travels on social media. So you could go and watch all of their trips and where they were going. And her mother kept, track of them via, through electronics. And so on the outside, it seemed like a wonderful, happy relationship. So this is the dinghy, what they call a dinghy, that they were in on that night, right? April the 4th. And this is the dinghy they were in. And they had gone out to dinner. And they were headed back. It was around 7:30 in the evening. And Ashley did a video, and about 7:30, it was dusk. But if you're out on the water, she said it would be dark. It could be dark, but it was not pitch black yet at 7:30, right? So this is the dinghy they were in. Okay, so they were sailing from Hopetown to Elbow Cay when she fell out of the dinghy. Okay. They were trailing down to their big boat after dinner and drinks. So they were going down to Elbow Cay from Hopetown, departed at 7:30. And look at where you see Marsh Harbor is where Brian washed up onto shore the following day, right? The following morning. He had lost he said when she fell overboard, and the story kind of keeps changing. Now, this was a traumatic situation. If you're drinking, you're not going to, you might not remember. She fell overboard. He alleges that he threw a flotation device to her. And he thought she was swimming toward the boat and then lost sight of her. He lost an oar. She had the key of the dinghy with her. So the dinghy had an emergency shutoff switch. So that's why he had to paddle in 8 hours. Now, Ashley Banfield is going to film the route to either today or tomorrow and get a video of it, which I can't wait for, because the captain that took Ashley around today said that from Hopetown down to Elbow Cay in the dinghy, it's no more than a 10-minute little boat ride on that little dinghy. The captain also said he had been out on that Saturday evening in the water, and there were not 2 and 3 feet seas, as Brian had alleged. So was Brian had said that it was choppy and the weather was bad. Was it or wasn't it? So we really don't know. So I think it's just going to be the police are going to have to do their investigation and find out how bad the surf was. But, being dark, I'd be scared. I wouldn't go in the ocean pitch black at night like that in a dinghy or not. I just wouldn't do it. So there's another picture. And now this is the yacht that they were going to. So they were seasoned water people, right? It was called the Soulmate, right? So this is from CBS News, and it says Lynette fell in at the end of the red line. So she fell in right at that spot, and he drifted and paddled 4 miles west. Now, drifted and paddled 4 miles took 8 hours. I don't know. I'm not a boater, so I don't know. That just seemed like a long time to me. Okay, so this is the dinghy route, right? And the sailboat was anchored down here. So they weren't really that far from where they were going. Like the captain said, it was like a 10-minute route in the little dinghy. Why didn't they have their life jackets on right in the dinghy on the way to the big boat? Especially if you're having a couple cocktails with dinner, I'd have my life jacket on. And Cindy says the daughter witnessed choking his own. Yeah, when she was young, correct. Now those charges were also dropped though. So what happened there? It's hard to. Like I said, it's hard till we see an investigation. Drinking and boating are not good. No, they never are. We have a lot of accidents that occur. I live by a river, and you just don't do it. You don't do it. We have a lot of boating accidents that liquor's involved, and it's lethal. Somebody's got to stay. Who's ever driving the boat has to drink pop or something. But there's that, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the chart. Now, you guys are going to like this because I brought in, every once in a while, I will use Algol, which fixed stars in a chart. Now, whenever there is a drowning or a boat or something that we know occurred on water, I used the fixed star called sheet, SCHEAT, right? It's fixed star sheet. Of course, it's in the Pisces constellation. So sheet is the fixed star. It's a bright orange red star in the constellation of Pegasus, right? It moves slowly. Now, it's in Pisces. It's supposed to be one of the most challenging fixed stars. Okay. However, it doesn't necessarily always mean that someone is drowned, right? But it is it can be accidents involving shipwrecks, flooding, sudden catastrophic, unpredictable outcomes with water. But fixed stars are weird. Fixed stars, if it's in a natal chart, it's a different meaning than a mundane astrology reading. Okay. So just because somebody has sheet in their chart does not mean they're going to drown. Now, in a natal chart, it would have a different meaning. Usually, with fixed stars in natal charts, that person pretty well, if the fixed star is in tight orb or close to other planets in their natal chart, you really have to walk with integrity in this lifetime. And that fixed star will bring all kinds of good fortune. It's blessings. But if that person walks off the far track or goes off path, the fixed stars can bring some pretty big misfortune energy into the mix. So the fixed stars are different in a natal chart as opposed to in this chart, in an event chart. But I always pull up sheet with water to see where sheet is and who sheet is talking to, what planet. But it's usually unpredictable. It's always based in water. Shipwrecks. It can also be extreme weather events, such as floods, right? Well, look at the green arrows. Sheet is right next to guess who? Mars. Now, listen to this, Cindy, because you're going to find this very interesting because the daughter said, I hope it's an accident. When Mars is next to sheet, it warns of accidents involving relatives with family upsets. It's dangerous. It's danger through water. And it can just it's just a sudden event with extreme outcomes with relatives on water. I about fell over when I looked that up. So Mars and sheet are together. So that's giving us, and it did say through warns of accidents to self or family members. Accident. It was. So I found that very interesting. They're close. They're almost conjunct. I think one's at 29. Okay, sheet is at 29. I think Mars is at 28. They're very close. So Lynette is the purple arrows, okay? She is Libra. So Venus is the ruling planet, so we're going to look for Venus up in the 8th house, right? Anytime we see in the 8th house in an event chart, it's never really a positive outcome. I hate to say that, but it is what it is. It's transformation, correct? She's also represented by the moon as a co-ruler in the 2nd house. Second house is money, financial. Was there an argument over finances? We don't know. We're going to have to watch this investigation. So I kind of looked at that as well, right? So we've got her in the 8th house. But what's really intriguing about this chart is there's what we call a grand trine, where there's 3 celestial bodies that are 120 degrees apart from one another. Normally, when we see a trine in an event chart, the person is found. It's luck. It's good fortune. But she has been gone now for 9 days in the water, and they have done exhaustive searches in the bay and in the area, correct? And so I don't know, that we don't know. So let's take a look. The 2nd house, the moon in Scorpio, says money, leverage, power. It's money. So let's move to, well, look at there, the 5th house. We have Pluto. Well, look at what's the 5th house? The 5th house is things that's partying. That's at the bar. That's things that we enjoy. Like I said, the 5th house is pleasure. So we've got an indication that there they were. So she is connected, because she's Venus, to the bar and the drinking. I'm going to tell you what, if anything in this chart that I can glean from this chart is alcohol was the major contributor for it, whether it was an accident or whether it was not. This chart is screaming alcohol and partying. Now, I'm alleging that because I don't know. We don't know. They might not have had a drink that night. But the chart is pointing toward that. The chart is pointing toward that. It's also pointing toward an accident too. I'm going to show you where. But he could have accidentally pushed her. We don't know, or she could have accidentally fallen. So in the 6th house, right? That's day-to-day operations. What's in the 6th house? We've got sheet, which is injury, Mars, injury from tools. Did she trip on something? Mercury. Now, this is interesting. Mercury is also in that house. Mercury in the 6th house tells us to follow the trail. Mercury is our trail of communications. It's our digital trail. Now, we know he had a watch on, so they can get that stuff off. Guess what? Her mother thought that the police said that they had found her watch. It had washed up onto shore. And I found that odd, because I have an Apple Watch and they don't come off. They're hard to take off. They don't just... So her Apple Watch either appeared on shore or they found her Apple Watch. I found that odd. But Mercury is indicating to follow the digital patterns. Anything digital is gonna help us. So let's say we're gonna look at the 7th house, because if there is a perp, if there's a perp, let's say if there was a perp, it would be Aries, and that would be Mars. So he's in the 6th house, right? And look at that. We've got Neptune sitting right at the cusp of the 7th house. Again, partying, alcohol, right? The Sun and Saturn in the 7th house is overpowered, could have overpowered the victim and calculated. So see, we're getting a couple mixed messages in the chart as well. We don't know. Then, of course, I think that the most telling is when Uranus comes in the 8th house, and Uranus is unexpected and it's shocking, and it could very well be an accident, because Uranus, and the reason I say that is because if we look at Uranus, who is it connected to? It's connected to Sheet and Mars. So we've already said that Uranus, unexpected, and the 8th house is actually, death. Uranus is unexpected. It's shocking. It's attached to Sheet and Mars. Unexpected accident with the boat. So, I just don't know. We're going to have to watch this one. Now let's look at the midheaven. The midheaven tells us, and isn't that funny? Because we've got the midheaven in Cancer. We've got the moon, which is represented by her, is in Scorpio. And then we've got that entire 6th house with Sheet and Mars and all that is with Pisces. It's all the water signs. Up in the midheaven tells us she's going to be found. That's law enforcement, what the public sees. And I think that the public is really starting to pick up on this case as well, right? So we're going to watch it. I did not map it because I just kind of go by Michael's rule of thumb that, and I will map it. I'll look at it and map it, but it's just kind of very hard when they go in the ocean. It's just kind of hard. And that was my biggest question. How would the watch get off her wrist? I don't know, because when you're wearing an Apple Watch, they are very secure and they're very hard to get off. I heard him say in a recording on his phone to a friend, he used his phone flashlight to look for her. He said he was at 20 bars and had no internet. He had no internet on his phone. There was no signal on his phone out in the water. So I don't know. So it's just very weird, isn't it? A lot of weird. We're going to have to watch this one. But this is another one where I hate to jump to conclusions when it was a very volatile relationship, and boom. And that's what's so hard about volatile relationships, because then when something does happen, it's like the person automatically gets, looked at, it gets a sideways glance, because, this could have been a very tragic accident, or it could just be something nefarious. We don't know. And who even saw them in the boat together? Is there a video or a camera or something? Don't know. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. And if y'all hear anything, let me know. Because that's, like I said, Ashley's on this one. It's a good one. And these are pictures that Ashley took. The boat he has been, they did bring him in for questioning. He was under arrest and he has been released. He has been released. The boat is still there. Ashley took those pictures yesterday. She said there was just something very eerie about the boat. It was just very eerie, but she took the pictures. So I'm very anxious to see her video tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. But it's a lovely boat, isn't it? Look at that. It's lovely. Okay, y'all, we'll take a couple minutes. Wait until you all see that this is, I'm telling you, when I say the karma train is coming, I'm telling you, it never fails. Now, I just put gross up in the name because of the allegations. I thought if he is a creeper, there's nothing worse than a creeper. They're just gross. It's gross. We do not have a real time, but we can still look at the outer planets. The AC was at 11, so this might be pretty good. I don't know. But the most telling thing about this congressman is the 11th house in a mundane chart is Congress. And look at all those planets in his 11th house. Well, I've been preaching this now for about 2.5 weeks that Libras, you better be careful. Libras, just keep your balance, keep the peace, because you are getting that entire Aries apocalypse is bearing down on you. You are the one right now that needs to be careful because you're getting whacked, right? Well, he is a Scorpio sun. He's a rising Sag. I'm pretty I don't know about that, but because we don't really have a time. But look at all those planets circled in red up there in the House of Congress. The Senate, well, the president is the 10th house. The Supreme Court is the 9th house. Congress is the 11th house. And like for like Canada, Parliament would be the 11th house. Look at that. Guess what's going on in his chart right now? Saturn, which is the planet of karma, and that's the one I would look at because this just seems like it's karmic stuff. Like karma flies up in your face. Saturn is at 7 degrees. His natal Saturn is 6 degrees. So Saturn is in direct opposition. Transiting Saturn, which is moving right now in real time, is opposing his natal Saturn. Boom for that one. What else is going on? The sun. The sun is opposing Pluto. Sun is opposing Pluto. Did I get that right? Sun, yeah, sun is opposing his natal Pluto. What does the sun do? The sun shines spotlights on what's being, Pluto is the underworld, what's being dredged up. Sun is opposing Pluto. Saturn is opposing Saturn. Check this out. Jupiter is squaring his Venus, which is females. Venus is opposing his sun. I'm telling you, I told you, Libras are getting whacked. Pluto is now squaring Mercury. So if I was his astrologer, I would say don't talk. Let your attorney talk for you. Don't talk to anybody. Don't say a word. Keep your mouth shut. Pluto's squaring Mercury. Pluto is trining, which is a good harmony, harmonic. I mean, it's just harmonious. Is trining his public image. The underworld is coming out, and it's showing up on his public image, what the public sees. Needless to say, Venus is also opposing Neptune, which is scandals, secrets. Uranus is getting ready in about 10 days to move into his house of marriage. Shake up in a marriage. I don't think, I will have to wait and see and watch that one. But usually when Uranus would hit the 7th house like that, and somebody's got all this going on and there's scandals and all that, he might have be like getting his clothes picked up out on the front porch. I don't know. But this is what a Libra chart, honestly, with what's happening. If you just watch what's happening to him, like I said, this came out of the blue. There's apparently a lot of victims that are coming out and saying he did this, he did that, he did this, he did that. Okay. What was funny is there was a press conference with a victim, and these victims come out after like 7 years, right? Okay, I get it. Maybe a victim doesn't, they're healing, they need time. Okay. 7 or 8 years or whatever. But right after the press release, they were going to the police department. why wouldn't you go to the police department first and then go do the press release? There's a lot of it's those little things that you pick up on. Why wouldn't an attorney say, wait, we're going to go to the police first. We're going to go to the DA. You're going to tell your story to the authorities first, and then we can go public with this. You don't do a press conference and then turn around and go to the police that afternoon, I guess. It doesn't make sense to me. So, a lot of allegations. So he naturally has resigned from Congress, and he has resigned from the race in California. He was running for governor of California. So all of these allegations have come forth, and this is what I'm telling you about my little Libras that are out there. Just keep the balance. You only got about a week and a half of. Is this going to happen to you? No. But there's a lot of activity going on with our Libras. They're getting the brunt of this. And, I guess if you're the planet of karma, if you've done, it can also reward like no other. So just because Saturn is opposing your Saturn, perhaps you should be getting rewards that you've worked very hard on yourself and your shadow work and karma. Now, another thing that I saw in his chart, which I think is very interesting, right? Jupiter, which is the planet of legal and abundance, is moving into his 9th house in June, end of June. That will bring him for an entire year a lot of luck in the legal field. So that caught my eye as well. Uranus is going to be sextiling that house of courts. So I think we're going to get some unexpected information. We'll see what happens, but I thought that was pretty interesting. But that stellium in poor stellium Libra is just getting the hell whacked out of it. Like, oh my God. I saw that stellium in Libra and I thought, well, there it is. Like I said, does that mean it's going to happen to every Libra? No, of course not. But he's got a lot of squares. I always look for people and try to look for the trines and look for that stuff. His moon is hitting his north, the natal north node too. I found that very interesting because that means his moon is opposing the transient south node in the 10th house, which is loss, which that would be the governor, because a governor would go up into the 10th. So that would be the 10th house would be a governor, and that's loss. So he's the south node is conjunct his south node, and it's opposing that north node is conjunct his moon. Wow, that's loss. That's loss up in the 10th house, which would be loss of the job. It's really getting it. I thought that was very interesting, y'all, because you just can't make this stuff up. So when something like this happens, I think it's kind of interesting. I think it's very interesting. But we'll have to watch this one and see. But, again, I think we all got to be careful when people accuse others that we just don't automatically tar and feather them. It's like, jeez. But that's a lot of pressure. I think the best thing to do is if you're going to be in public eye, you should be good. You should be good. And perhaps he is. Perhaps this is a hit job on him. We don't know. So Well, does anybody have any thoughts on this chart? I know it's crazy. Cindy's like going, oh my gosh, because Cindy's got a Libra stellium going on, and so do I. We're both going, holy. But, you know, just because it's opposing it, it doesn't mean something is going to. Usually the sun will shine a light on something, and boy, the sun is shining a light on that Pluto. Whoops. So we'll have to wait and see. We got to wait and see, because this just all happened. And what was funny with this situation, you guys from Canada, it happened very quickly. It was like hit the news cycle, I guess, and it was just like it's everywhere. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, I will be a little upset if he goes to court and we find out, you know, he was pleaded guilty or what have you, because he was one of the biggest ones that was standing up for the Epstein files to be released. So we'll see about that. And we'll have to just watch it and see. Now, he, of course, is saying he didn't do anything. He's denying all allegations. So isn't that interesting? It is interesting. You guys have a great, it's interesting charts and info. Great job. You too, hon. I hope your toe's better. Keep your, she had an injury to her her toe. Let that halo shine, and when it's dented, unbend it. I hear you. I hear you. I think they're all slime balls. So you guys have a great week. We will unpack another true crime case next week. I'll map this. If I get a little bit more information this week on Ashley's show, we'll do that, and I'll keep an open ear on this. Like I said, it's a case that's just kind of unfolding, but it continues to pick up steam, and I think people are going to really pick up this case. And although they said they've done an exhausting searches, what is opposing his son? Venus. Yes. I think Venus. Let me look. Oh, that's the wrong one. Venus is squaring. Yes, Venus. Yes. No, Saturn is opposing. Wait. Let me see. It's little too. I can't see it either, Sin. Let me look on here. Sun is opposing Pluto. Sun's opposing Pluto. Sun is opposing Pluto. I don't know. I don't know. I will look at her chart and let you know. I think she's in the area, although there was another, if y'all didn't hear, there was another ransom note that stated she was in Mexico. And we did have that one line on the map that went down, that goes down to Mexico. I will, I'll pull up the mapping that we did and show it to you. Because remember, we did have that line going down to Mexico. And a ransom note happened last week, and they said that he knows where she was put or placed or buried. Although I think she's closer than that. I think she's in closer proximity, to be honest with you. But I could be wrong, you know. Sonora. Is that where they, yeah, that's where they said, yeah. Sonora State, yeah. Yeah. So, well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a great show. I enjoyed it. And thanks so much for chiming in and getting in the chat, and have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Enjoy spring. I love spring. And just be mindful of this Aries apocalypse, and be careful. You know, just be careful driving, don't drive fast, and step back and pause, like Keith says, and just no impulsive actions. And Aries is a warrior, gives us courage, and we get things done. It's good. It's good energy. So just be mindful that it's out there. So have a great week, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks a million for tuning in. Have a good night. Thanks.